All right, on page 114 of Grenade by Alan Gratz, we're back to Hideki speaking, and he's moving along to go find his sister. He set out on this mission, and instead, he actually slips and falls down this pretty steep, muddy bank. And when he gets to the bottom, he feels something on his skin and looks down, and he's just covered in maggots, probably from fertile soil around there, but also probably a lot of dead bodies in the area as well. So that can't be helping. So he's covered in all these maggots. He just starts stripping off all of his clothes. He's got to get the maggots off of him. He doesn't want them on him at all for obvious reasons. So he strips down completely naked. He's shaking. He's cold. It's still pouring rain. He's just feels very vulnerable and unsafe. He says he's never felt so naked before, helpless and exposed. And it's just, he has nothing left, guys. The only thing he has left is his sister, who he doesn't even know if she's alive. He's literally naked and exposed. He has nothing. And he doesn't even know. He says he feels like a ghost of a person, that he's just this empty shell, basically. And as he walks, he's trying to think what he should do. He says, should I just kill myself now and be rid of this? And he's like, no, because then I'm not doing what I was supposed to do. And he continues on and he hears this American camp. And he's trying to figure out, it says he takes a wide berth. He's taking far away steps as he can, trying to avoid the American camp at all costs so that they don't see him and he can just move along his way. And in the meantime, somebody says yokai, which is the Japanese word for a spirit or a ghost. And so he thinks that they're saying he looks like a ghost. And he's like, no, I'm not a ghost. And then he realizes that this is a code system. And both sides of the war use this. You would have your code of the day so you would know who was on your side. We talked about this a little bit in Code Talkers as well, because the Navajo soldiers were often mistaken for Japanese soldiers. So you had to have a word. And obviously, Hideki does not know the word of the day. He has not been with the army. He's kind of been on his own, but he's technically part of the army. So he doesn't know the password. He guesses. Bad move. He could have been killed right there, but they obviously don't want to make a lot of sound. They don't want to give away their position. So they take him into the cave, and he sees that it's mostly wounded and dying soldiers, a few Okinawans, and a few Japanese soldiers. And he proves that he's not a spy. He proves his loyalty to the Japanese army, shows them the pictures he has, explains who he is. The lieutenant's like, yeah, that works. You sound legit. So the lieutenant lets him in on this idea that, first of all, you need clothes. Go ahead and just take some off of one of those dead bodies. They're not using it, which is horrifying to Hideki, but he needs clothes. He needs something. So he does as he's told, and then the lieutenant says, and now we're getting ready to attack the Americans, which is basically a deadly mission in itself. And that's what Hideki tells him. He's like, there's like 7 of us and a whole bunch more of them, and they've got much bigger weapons. Like, this is crazy. We cannot win that fight. And the lieutenant says, no, that's your job. And then he goes on to the Okinawans, these innocent men and women, mostly women and children. He's going to strap them with dynamite and bombs and send them ahead to kill some of the people. So these Okinawan women and children will die for the cause. And obviously this hits Hideki hard. He doesn't like this. And the lieutenant says, this is your island we're trying to protect from these Americans. You guys should be the ones fighting. Well, the only reason the Americans there are because they're fighting the Japanese. So really the Japanese are like, we had to come here just to protect you guys. You guys should be fighting. And he's really got that twisted around. But he tells them, you're going to go attack. This is what you have to do. There's no option.